Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 315 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is Summer Rain.
My name is Jordan Willis.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest joining us for the very first time. You know him from the Meatcast. Welcome to Super Switch Headz, the wonderful Kyle Romero.
Hey, Switch Headz. Thanks for having me, friends.
Of course, I'm so glad to have you.
Yes, thank you for being here, Kyle. We've got Kyle on the show today because we're all bananas for Bananza. We're going to be discussing the latest Nintendo first-party game, Donkey Kong Bananza. You guessed it. We're also going to talk about this week's news, like the Zelda and Link casting for the highly anticipated Legend of Zelda movie. Some Nintendo mobile games that aren't Fire Emblem Heroes are actually getting some unexpected updates. We're also going to dive a bit into the latest Ask a Developer volume for even more Donkey Kong. But before all of that, how has everyone's week been?
Whoa. I'll go first.
Please.
I said that and I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Hopefully something cool.
Well, I'm going to Las Vegas next week, so I'm mostly just kind
Mm.
of like this past week, just helping out around the house and chilling. Submitted to a photography fellowship at the Houston Center for Photography. So I'm really hoping, I'm trying to like make this a year where I submit to more like contests like that, because after like I did a solo show at the end of last year, I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to do next if I want to move anyway in the art world? And applying to kind of fellowships and things like that might be the next trick. But yeah, Las Vegas is gonna be fun. I got tickets for BattleBots and Piff, the Magic Dragon, the comedian musician.
You're saying the words, and I'm free associating. I'm not sure.
David, you don't know Piff?
I don't know
Come
Piff.
on, you're not a Piff head?
I'm not I'm not a
man.
piffer.
You don't know BattleBots, David?
BattleBots, is that like the robots that fight?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
They're
First of all,
still
I didn't
doing
know
that.
that existed in the corporeal realm, and secondly, I did not know that that was in Las Vegas. So that's exciting. I'm excited for you. I'd love to see that in person.
I was just like, if I'm going to go to Vegas, I got to see a couple shows. What actually interests me?
BattleBots.
I
feel like if
robots
I was in
fighting.
like middle school, I'd be like, "Yo, go to Las Vegas, gonna see BattleBots."
Well, I know it's like it used to be Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and now the generations have changed, so they
It's
have
Piff.
to do
It's
BattleBots.
Piff and BattleBots
It's
now.
Piff and BattleBots for these.
Well, when I went and I saw the Beatles Cirque du Soleil show, which is
Oh,
now
nice.
over. I saw it at the
R.I.P.
Mirage, and it's last month there. But no, that's great. I'm very excited for you. I wasn't trying to neg you.
No, it's
by
fine. I
your-
don't care. I'm going anyway.
Yeah, cool. That'll be fun.
That's
Yeah,
the spirit.
yeah. I'm also going on a trip this upcoming week. By the time this episode comes out, I will be in Los Angeles, California, visiting my brother. I'm going to be there for just over a week, seeing some friends out there, and generally trying to just relax. I think I'm going to be doing some working, but I'm kind of just out there to have some fun and stuff like that. I know that a lot is happening over the course of the next week in the world of Nintendo, especially if there's going to be a Nintendo Direct, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, I mean, this past week, it was so much Donkey Kong Country Bonanza. I am, spoiler, absolutely in love with this game, head over heels. I've been playing it pretty much nonstop. A lot of like medical stuff. I went and got a bunch of scans last week, and that's leading to a little bit of scan anxiety. But I'm trying to push that out of my head so I can go on vacation. And then other than that, I saw the movie Eddington twice, the Ari Aster movie. I went and saw it once, and then I had to go see it again. And I will say, after the second viewing, I think that movie's a masterpiece. I think it might be his. I think it might be his best film.
I still haven't seen it. I gotta go this week.
Yeah, I would not begrudge anyone for having the complete opposite opinion as me on that. But I think, I don't know, it worked for me in all the ways that Beau was afraid did not. And I was really, really into it. But
Nice.
yeah, what about y'all? How are you doing, Summer?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I took my chances yesterday on trying to go get rush tickets to see Beauty and the Beast, which is when you go to the box office like as soon as they open,
morning
try to
of.
get tickets
Yeah,
that
yeah.
day. I was already downtown for something else, and I was like, you know what? really want to go see Beauty and the Beast, but I don't want to pay $200 a ticket to see it. So I was able to get tickets for $49 instead. And they weren't bad seats. They said that they were limited view. Oh no, I missed like one spoon in the back corner during during Be Our Guest, right? So not a huge deal. Excellent seats. That was really, I don't know, that was a huge highlight for me. It was my first time seeing like a Broadway musical since moving back to Chicago. So I'm like, I'm going to do that way more often because the line, I only got there 10 minutes before the box office opened. There wasn't a huge line and it was a Sunday. So I was like, I don't know. I like those odds. I will do that again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Every time I go to New York and I see a show, I'm like stressing out about like getting tickets or whatever. And my friends that live in New York, they're like, bro, just like go this morning. It'll be fine. There's always the cheap tickets. He's like, I never buy tickets in advance, you know, but anyway.
And the thing you don't want to see is not available. You'll end up seeing like Addams Family, the musical or something.
Yeah, that's true.
And you might enjoy a song or two from it. You never know.
You say that, but like I would happily go see it. That's something I would seek out.
No, 100%.
That's
how I ended up seeing it. And then I was like, Nathan Lane is in this.
Oh my
Absolutely,
God.
You know?
Yes.
Of course.
How was your week, Kyle? You have a good week?
Yeah, it was good. I auditioned and got cast in a play, which I'm very excited
about. Look at
that.
Look at all this theater talk.
Trotting the noble boards again. I'm back in my element. Tired of this comedy stuff. Trying to get serious.
It's a young man's game, comedy.
It's a young man's game. I don't have the endurance. So I'm excited about that. That'll be coming up in a couple of months. I'm looking forward to this. Is a very busy week. The MLS All-Star game is in town in Austin. So that's Major League Soccer. I'm sorry to bring up sports on a video game podcast.
That's okay.
Mortal enemies. But I'm very excited for tomorrow night, which is the skills challenge, where they do like weird game-like stuff. Like they have a big skee ball machine, like a field-sized skee ball thing that they have to like kick the soccer balls into instead of throw them. And I'm so excited to see that live. You have no idea.
That's
gonna be great. Also, shout out to famous streamer Speed, who apparently will be at the MLS All-Star.
Like I Show Speed will be.
Wow.
I got an email today telling me that Speed was going to be at the skills challenge, and I was like,
"Oh my God!"
Whatever demographic you have me lumped into is wrong, but I am happy to know that he will be there.
Well, let's see when you meet him. Ask him if he'll join us on Super Switch Headz. We'd love. If I get a shot,
if I get one shot, I'm getting him on your show, not on mine.
Hell yeah,
he's going on your show.
Yeah. I don't think he's a Heathcliff fan, but
no.
Anyway, well, that is great. I'm glad to hear all that. We got lots of news and stuff to get into here, but before we get into all that, I would like to give a couple shout outs from last week's episode. We talked last week with Daniel Alba from Good Vibes Gaming. What an awesome guest, all about what we expect from Mario's 40th anniversary this year. We got lots of great discussion in the Discord, kind of all the regulars in the Discord. Please join us over there if you haven't yet. Talking about the Mario 3D All-Stars collection, some theories about, what might have or might not have been rushed due to COVID back in 2020. So that was some really interesting conversation. Lots of love in the Discord for Shadow of the Colossus as well. It was like Jordan talking about that at the very end of the episode really caused quite a bit of conversation in the podcast channel. And also a couple shout outs from our YouTube comments. Lots of love for the GVG crew here. Eric Shaw says, love seeing Daniel on, and that Eric could possibly see Nintendo announcing the next big 3D Mario game in a September Direct for the 40th anniversary, having it released spring or summer of 2026. I think that's pretty likely. It sounds pretty good to me. And then Snake Jazz 5980 says, love the crossover episodes of the GVG crew. Super Switch Headz and GVG have always felt like sister channels of one another in vibe and spirit. And wow, what a compliment. I do love those guys over at Good Vibe Gaming. Be sure to shoot them a follow on YouTube. Subscribe to them over there. And subscribe to us if you could. If you're listening to us on audio, please go over to our YouTube page where we've got a video of our beautiful faces right now. We'd love to have your likes and subscribes over there. If you could leave a review for us on Apple or Spotify. You can leave comments on Spotify now as well. Post the show somewhere like Reddit or on social media. and all that stuff. Just tell your friends about the show. We love having your patronage here at Super Switch Headz. Bless you. With all that out of the way, we're going to go right into the news because, boy, howdy, we actually have quite a bit of news on this beautiful Donkey Kong Day. First up, we have the official casting for the two main characters of the live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Miyamoto-san himself took to Twitter, which I thought they were done posting to Twitter, but I guess not, saying that we have our cast. Now, we've got Bo Bragason, cast to play Zelda, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth playing Link. So if you are not familiar with either of those actors, I think that is by design. It seems that Nintendo has, and I guess Sony Pictures, have opted for relative unknowns for both of these actors in lieu of, say, a Hunter Schafer as Zelda, which was kind of the internet's fan casting. I think that would have been really nice to see, but understandable why they went with this. Seems to be a younger cast than a lot of people were anticipating. I want to toss this to you guys. Maybe Kyle, are you excited for this live action Legend of Zelda movie? Does this casting excite you or make you feel, I don't know, how's this make you feel?
I mean, I'm very excited for the movie, obviously, but yeah, I don't know these kids. These are just two kids. I have no idea. They look like the roles, that's great. I'm a big, I'm like a fan casting hater famously, where anytime any like fan casting is happening on the internet, I'm always like, you don't get it. You're wrong.
Right.
Hunter Schafer's great. That actually would have been great, but that is definitely like way too old for what they're trying to do here.
Right. Yeah, it definitely seems so.
But I am excited about the movie. The movie's going to be interesting, even if it's like not good. It'd be like, wow, they're finally doing it. Like they made it, and this is what it looks like. Wes Ball, I don't know about him as a director.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I liked Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I thought it was pretty great. Tears of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But I mean, I haven't really seen his other work other than that, right? So
same.
I don't know. He definitely seems like his head's in the right place. What do you think about this, Jordan? You got thoughts on this casting or at all?
Casting looks fine. I was kind of really expecting some unknowns. Any fan casting, I was like, no one's going to actually guess who this is going to be. I do recognize Benjamin Evan Ainsworth from The Haunting of Bly Manor. We are some Mike Flanagan fans in this household. But that was also 5 years ago, and he was much younger. So,
he's only 16 now, I think, correct?
Yeah. I looked it up because I was curious. I was like, oh, wow. So, I mean, I think they're also trying to create a longevity in this series of movies where they could do maybe 2 or 3 of these movies if it's successful. I think my biggest concern is not Wes Ball, not the casting, but the fact that it's a Sony Pictures movie. A lot of their live action movies in the past decade have left a lot to be desired, and I do not know if they got the juice to make this a great film.
You got any thoughts on this, Summer, before we move on?
Not exactly. The only thing that I have to contribute to this conversation is that this announcement in the Nintendo calendar app is how I found out that you can no longer screenshot within the app.
Yeah, that's true.
I had been screenshotting things from the app prior to this announcement, and then I tried to screenshot this announcement specifically, and it just came up black in my photos. So
Nintendo,
when did that happen?
Nintendo. Yeah,
that's such a classic Nintendo thing.
It was like a month ago, I think. I heard other people complaining about it. To be honest,
what end?
I don't use the app. I don't use Nintendo Today because it's just everybody just shares everything to other social media that I'm actually on.
But I see it on that app first.
All right.
I get push notifications with that app.
Yeah.
And that's why they're still using Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll go ahead and move on here. I'm excited for the movie. I think it looks good. But we're going to talk about something that at this point is old news, technically, which is the Pokemon Presents. By the time you're listening to this, the Pokemon Presents was yesterday, or rather the 22nd of July. We're recording a day early here. So we don't have our thoughts on the Pokemon Presents. We'll probably talk about that in some capacity next week or at some point. We'll have to kind of see how that shakes out here. But a couple things of note here is that it's a longer Pokemon Presents and that there's going to be sort of a pre-show thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that Pokemon Presents pre-show. Any spaghetti on the wall predictions, just so we could say that we predicted it before it happened. Anybody got any thoughts on this?
We've had Pokemon Smile. We've got Pokemon Sleep. It's time for Pokemon
Feet.
Oh, wow. Where'd that come from?
Just
Smile, Sleep, Feet.
Yeah, just the annals of my twisted mind. Anyway,
I was gonna say Pokemon.
That's twisted.
I'm gonna say Pokemon Savvy, which is actually a Pokemon
like style savvy game.
Yeah, but it's a Pokemon stylist, and so you actually get like fits sent to your home monthly based on your Pokemon profile or something. Mm-hmm. You said spaghetti on the wall. I don't know.
Hey, no, I think that's sticking. It's working for me.
Some of the things that they both Smile and Sleep are just kind of like, okay, sure, I guess. I definitely use both, but I
hope everyone is enjoying their Gens 1 through 3 that have been added to Nintendo Switch Online gameplay.
Not going to happen.
Anyway,
not going to happen.
Let's go ahead and move on. I don't think there's too much more to say on that too. A little bit of interesting games industry news here. There have been some recent Nintendo employee data that has records, I guess you could say, that has come out just talking about the retention that Nintendo has of their employees. It really seems that, especially in Japan, and a lot of this can be, put to Japanese labor laws. I think it's a lot harder to actually get rid of employees. You have to really work really hard to fire somebody in Japan. But a lot of people that work at Nintendo stay at Nintendo. And it seems that it is very rare for Nintendo to lay people off. I mean, this obviously has happened in the US. I'm sorry, I was laughing at something that was on the video, not at people getting laid off.
Wow.
Yeah, but you got to watch the YouTube version. Otherwise,
David, why are you, for audio listeners, David is rubbing his hands together right now.
That's right. But no, obviously, I think a lot of people in the Bay Area lost their jobs at Nintendo famously around 2020. But other than that, even a lot of these kind of second party studios like Retro, Next Level Games and stuff tend to keep a lot of their employees around. And obviously this is also the case in Japan. Do you guys have any thoughts on this and what maybe the secret sauce might be at Nintendo, how it's able to retain so many of its employees?
I don't know what the sauce is, but I do love to hear it because it's such a, it's so atypical for the industry. It's really nice to hear that people are able to keep their jobs. Call me controversial. I don't like to hear when people get fired.
Yeah.
But I have to imagine it's some combination of fair compensation, which probably should be top of the list, but also, nice to work for a company that makes stuff that that releases, and that you can be proud of. People can see your work, I know a lot of people in game development, but from what I hear, it's just a lot of you'll work on something for years and years and years, and it'll get axed, or it'll just get quietly dumped. And I'm sure Nintendo has plenty of stuff that they are quietly axing behind the scenes, but
I feel like that's the difference, though, is they'll axe it behind the scenes and then not lay off an entire team because they made the managerial decision to axe a project.
Yes.
I think that is the biggest difference between them is I feel like when I read a lot of these layoff stories, to me, the underlying subtext is there's a managerial issue where they don't know what their next project is going to be and where it's going to come from. And Nintendo seems to have a overarching plan a lot of the times. And if they don't, they're okay letting teams work on something that might turn into something else completely or get scrapped. But they're going to keep those people on and keep them moving towards something, as opposed to David. I don't know if you're going to mention this, but Virtuos laid off 270 employees recently.
That's right.
They just pushed out the really popular and well-received Oblivion remaster. They helped Bethesda make that game, and then 270 people lost their jobs after that project was done. And, where I kind of was thinking about this was like, I go to the comments, big mistake. Don't ever go to the comments on any sort of layoff story. But they're like, well, the project's done. What are they going to do? They're just going to sit there for no work. I'm like, no, dude, like this is a large company that should have another thing on deck for them to like push towards that right after. And like, if they don't, that is a managerial problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The roadmap should be fleshed out enough that, you don't release a game and go, oh, damn, what's next?
Yeah.
Years and years in advance.
Yeah, I think proper planning is a big part of it. I think that also a lot of the Western AAA studios tend to sink just millions and millions of dollars with these astronomical expectations that can never be met. And I think that Nintendo, while it's easier for them to do this because they have very deep pockets and are, 150 almost year old company, they they're smarter with the projects that they make. It's a variety of different kinds of projects. They do smaller projects, bigger projects. And I think even their biggest projects, aren't on the size of like, say, the biggest Ubisoft projects or something like that out there, right? Where you see a lot of turnover in the rest of the AAA industry. So I think there's a lot to it. I think also diversity. I think Nintendo has a commitment to diverse hires. And I think that makes it a good place for a lot of people to work, and lots of different kinds of people. I know the split in Japan is something like 25% female, 75% male, which is definitely pretty skewed, but honestly pretty good for a Japanese video game company. At the end of the day, obviously, I think they want to make those numbers a little bit better, but everybody sticks around and they can't hire anybody new. So maybe once some old Japanese men die, we'll see some more female Japanese talent.
God willing.
God willing, inshallah. But anyway, we'll go ahead and move on from those stories there. Thoughts for all the employees at Virtuos who got laid off there, but we're going to move on to a little bit of NSO news. That's Nintendo Switch Online. And would you believe it? The Nintendo Switch Online Playtest program has returned. By the time you're listening to this, I think that signups might be closed. There were like 2 rounds of signups this time, and it seems like they're letting in a lot more people this go round. If you were in the playtest on the first go round, like I was, I think you're automatically put back in on the second round of playtest. I'm not showing footage of this on the YouTube version because it seems that Nintendo still really doesn't want people posting footage of this, and I don't want this video taken down. But any thoughts on this online playtest coming back? And have any of you guys signed up to partake this go round?
The sign-up process was really annoying this time. You had to sign up for an application and create an application and then come back later to apply. And I am just now realizing I did not wake up this morning and apply. So I created my application, but I didn't get to apply because I didn't click the apply button 2 days later.
I think you might still be able to now. I think it opened up again or something like that.
We have reached the limit of accepted applicants. No. We are no longer accepting applications.
Never mind.
That's the page I'm looking at right now.
My bad. Yeah. My bad. This whole thing has been very strange as it's rolled out. I know you could sign up in groups this time, which is interesting. If you're not familiar with what this was, it was kind of it's basically like a test for an MMO that Nintendo is doing, where you play as these weird little monkey men with tails that can shake hands with people, and you build these towers, and it's very voxel based. It's very Minecraft, but with a lot of customization. Very weird and hard to describe. This kind of came out of nowhere, and then the signups were right away, and then it was closed right away. So I'm not sure exactly what their end game is with this, but I'm definitely at least going to fire this up when I'm on vacation, just to see if this runs okay on Switch 2, because I know it definitely had some performance issues on Switch 1. Definitely felt like it was made for Switch 2. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and then kind of what comes of this. Were you familiar with this project at all, Kyle? Is this the first you're hearing about it?
No, I remember hearing about the first round of it and just kind of seeing the news stories and going, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm moving on, It's
very bizarre.
I just couldn't wrap my brain around what they were trying to do. It was one of those things where I'm like, well, I'll wait till that's properly coming out of the oven before I start paying attention to it.
No idea.
But now that I'm on this show and hearing you talk about it, I'm like, I wish I would have done the playtest. I'm gonna want to see what's going on,
Yeah.
I like to be involved.
Absolutely. Yeah, the FOMO is pretty strong with this one, especially since you can't stream it or show video of it online and everything. It's very strange, but this keeps lining up with me going on vacation. The first time this happened, I went to Japan and I only got to play for a few hours, and then now I'm going to be in LA pretty much the whole time this is going on. But anyway, a very interesting thing. And the other little bit of NSO news is that Dragon Drive, the upcoming multiplayer game from Nintendo, which is releasing in August, is having a global jam demo event, and that's going to be happening August 9th and August 10th for NSO members. This is very similar to the Splatoon previews that they would do on those games. Feels like it's kind of a test of their servers here to make sure everything is working all right and going smoothly. So definitely, if you've been on the fence about this game and you have a Switch 2, it seems like around August 9th and 10th will be good times for you to try out this game, see if it's for you, see how it plays. I'm pretty excited for this game. I'm definitely interested to try it out. I like the idea of a dual mouse control game. Any of you guys excited for Dragon Drive? What about you, Summer?
Yeah, I'm gonna get this game.
Yeah,
I think it looks different enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like $15 too. So not a huge
exactly.
buy-in.
Can't beat that. Might as well try it out.
Yeah. So far, I've really been enjoying mouse controls and other things.
Did you get to the mouse part of Deltarune yet?
Oh yeah, like a while ago. And as soon as it came up, I was like hollering because it's introduced with literal mice.
Okay.
So that it was very Toby Fox. Yeah. But I've been playing Fortnite with mouse mode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Do you think, are you going to go pro gamer? Are you going to get a 3D printed Joy-Con holder that you slide your Joy-Con into to use mouse mode?
Maybe, I don't know.
Come on. You want to keep getting beat by a bunch of children.
Well, I'm not getting beat by children.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
But maybe I could be more comfortable.
Absolutely.
So that's right. I'm like, well, I don't know. Longer play sessions.
It is it's not the most, for a longer play session, it's a little tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I found is the most challenging thing. Yeah.
I keep telling myself I'm going to get back into Fortnite now that it's on Switch 2 and there's proper gyro and it feels like it'd be a fun handheld game. But
the gyro's sweet.
Just never do it. I just never do it. It's also very large, and so I never have space on my Switch to install it.
That part though, I was like, oh, I forgot how big it is, but it does look great on the Switch.
Oh yeah, I've seen footage.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I fired it up after I, as I was trying stuff out on Switch 2, and just was like, it has been years. I was like, what has happened? I am 100 years old. What's all this stuff? You know?
Yeah. Darth Vader was like, you are gay. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Come on, Darth.
Captain America's saying I'm skibbity toilet. What's going on?
God damn it. What hath we wrought? Anyway, did you have any thoughts on this, Jordan, before we move on?
No, but I mean, I probably wasn't going to really buy this game, but I will try the demo, and then maybe that'll convince me to buy it. That's what I think. Yeah, try it out.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be worth it. It'll be worth it for a fun weekend with your friends at the very least. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our next bit of news, which involves Nintendo's mobile games, a lot of which we thought were kind of abandoned by Nintendo at this point. We definitely got word that Mario Kart Tour was ending support. I think 6 months or a year ago, something like that now. But it seems like Mario Kart Tour is getting an update. And this is basically to essentially advertise Mario Kart World. So there's a bit of a crossover event. It looks like there is going to be a Sunshine event, which is kind of like summer themed. And then alongside that, there's a Mario Kart World event, which has some like new karts. And I think you play mainly as the like Famicom, like pit crew, Mario and Luigi in these events. So surprisingly, yeah, it seems like Mario Kart Tour is still got a little bit of gas in the tank, if you accept the pun. And in addition to that, thank you. And then in addition to that, Super Mario Run is also getting some Donkey Kong Bananza content, mainly in the form of gold statues that you can place around your lobby. I think out of the two of these games, I'm a bigger fan of Super Mario Run, but I mean, this is a game that I played like, for, maybe like 5 hours back in 2017. So I don't know that I'm going to be firing this back up to get those statues. But what do you guys think about this? Are you surprised to see that Nintendo is still supporting some of these mobile games? And what do you think this might mean about the future of Nintendo and mobile?
It's very strange. It is very strange. Because, I played Super Mario Run a fair amount when it came out. Just, for like most mobile games, it feels like I play it for, like you said, a few hours, but like pretty intensely for those few hours. And you're like, all right, I've juiced as much as I can out of this.
Yeah, sure.
So what is like almost 10 years later, to come out with a very minor Donkey Kong Bonanza promo is very, very strange. They haven't done this like recently for any other promo,
I'm sure they have, and we just haven't been reporting on it. It's just weird that like both of these games are getting updates now. I think that's why it was kind of noteworthy. What do you think about this, Jordan?
I'm mostly annoyed, because I'm like, yeah, it sure would be nice if we got any updates on Mario Kart World, the brand new game that has been out and has
it's only a month old at this point, right?
But we have no roadmap and no costume promises. There is the vague tease in the internet of being like, oh, once Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out, they'll release some new costumes.
Oh, the fan maybe theory.
The fan theory, it's just like, oh yeah, that sounds like it could be cool. And it's like just crickets from Nintendo. And then they're like, hey, but by the way, Mario Kart Tour, we're going to be updating that with some stuff from Mario Kart World. And I was like, can we do the reverse? Can we get some of the carts and the costumes and extra characters from Tour into World? Or at least just, a pulse, any sort of update on what might happen. But I mean, that's probably they're saving anything like that for a direct if it's ever coming.
Yeah.
I have the opposite annoyance. I think they should have put a Donkey Kong update in Fire Emblem Heroes, their mobile game that actually makes money.
That people are actually still playing. Yes,
regularly. It's literally their whale. Why can't I have Donkey Kong in Fire Emblem? I have every other animal transformation character. They could easily do. I don't actually want Donkey Kong and Fire Emblem.
but you could instead of a Pegasus.
Commit to the bit.
Instead of a Pegasus, a horse, and all the other mounts, you could have like On Guard, the fish. You could have
even beyond
Espresso, the ostrich.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm saying put Donkey Kong in every game. I think that at the end of this episode, you will.
I want Donkey Kong and Death Stranding too. This is what I want to see.
That's true.
Just put him everywhere.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea. Don't give Kojima any ideas. He'll definitely he'll do it. He's got Princess Beach. He'll get the candy dong, or I don't know. But anyway, I think that's enough talk about Nintendo Mobile. I would like to see more mobile games from Nintendo, to be honest. I think Miitomo. Bring back Miitomo. I fucking love that game.
Oh. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll go ahead.
Do stuff like that, like little smaller things. I think that would be fun and interesting.
I agree.
I like my mobile games.
Yeah, turn Nintendo Today into a shitposting app. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to our next bit of news, which is about Donkey Kong Bananza. Obviously, this is our main topic today, and we're going to be going into all of our thoughts and impressions on our first week or so with the game in the main topic. But before that, there's a few things that I definitely wanted to talk about. An Ask the Developer interview dropped for Donkey Kong Bananza, and there were actually a lot of really interesting nuggets in this. One of which was that, the game essentially, I think, started with them experimenting with voxel technology, right? So if you're familiar, Minecraft is kind of the Plato's form of the voxel game, right? That was kind of the game that really started it all with that technology, or at least popularized it. And I think that they basically knew they wanted to do something with destructible environments because they had done a tech demo with like a Goomba with arms. It was kind of like the two hands from that one boss in Odyssey, the like Olmec head that like punches you in the in Tostarena. And so they had put like those hands on a Goomba and let you punch walls and stuff. And they're like, oh, this is actually kind of satisfying and pretty fun when they were experimenting with this voxel technology. And so I think they figured out a way to basically have the meshes of the voxels better approximate rounder surfaces and stuff like that, which is what you'll see a lot when you play the game, when you're doing a lot of the destruction in this game. So that was really interesting to see. Also, it was revealed that this game, up until 2021, was a Switch 1 game. It was originally designed for the Switch 1, and basically, I think they were running into major performance problems, and then they said in 2021 they decided to switch development over to Switch 2. So that, I think, is enlightening in a lot of ways. That shows that Nintendo was working on Switch 2 games anyway as early as 2021, for one. Also, I think it probably goes to show that this game it's probably been done for a while, because they showed side-by-side pictures of the Switch 1 build versus the Switch 2 build, and they show like all the foliage and everything that's in the Switch 2 version that wasn't in the Switch 1 version or whatever. But it's like, yo, if that screenshot is from 2021, that looks like pretty complete. You know what I mean? So I have a feeling that Nintendo's been holding on to this game for quite a while, just waiting for the Switch 2 to drop, which I think kind of opens up some interesting discussion about what might be happening with a 3D Mario game, which a lot of which we got into last week. But before we move on to some of this other stuff, any thoughts on the stuff from the Ask the Developer interview? Is any of this surprising to y'all?
I don't think any of us got a chance to read it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but that's not surprising to hear. But yeah. Well, I want to dive in because I'm always fascinated to hear the journey.
Yeah, I think this one in particular was interesting. Sometimes the Ask the Developer is just like, we felt like doing something fun, and you're just like, okay, this is boring. But this one actually had a lot of really interesting tech stuff, so I recommend checking that out. There was also some confirmation about some of the voice actors that are in this game. One of them is Koji Takeda, who is playing DK in this game. They use the Japanese voice actor for the English version because he just speaks and grunts and goofs, right? But it's interesting because he also did the voice in Mario Kart World, and he played DK in the Japanese dub of the Mario movie. So that is kind of interesting, a little bit of cross-media there. Also, Jenny Kidd was revealed to be the voice of Pauline in the English version, anyway, of this game, which is replacing, or maybe just is, she's the young Pauline, where Kate Higgins plays Pauline in Odyssey. I imagine they'll probably just have two castings for that. And then some interesting stuff on the numbers front. We don't usually get sales numbers in the US for quite a while for video games, but in the UK, they reveal sales data the weekend that games come out. And so we know that at least in the UK, DK did really, really well. It was the number one release game this weekend, and it sold 3 times as many as the initial weekend of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So the 3D platforming is working well for it. But that said, it is about half as much as Mario Odyssey sold in its first week. So that kind of shows where Nintendo's at with, we kind of all knew that this was not going to be a huge blowout, but for, Donkey Kong never sells as much as Mario. There's also just a lot less Switch 2s out there, so, this is an early game, and I think a lot of people are still playing Mario Kart World. But what do you have to say about that, Jordan?
Is this physical sales only, or does this include digital? I believe this is physical in UK. Yeah. I feel like more people now are buying digital games than they were in 2017. And so I feel that might make up the discrepancy. Maybe not entirely, but I would be curious to see what this looks like with the digital sales added on, and then also combine physical and digital sales for Mario Odyssey at the same time. we're also earlier in the life cycle.
Right.
So maybe not as many.
A month in as opposed to like
to-
9 months in or whatever, whenever Odyssey released, or 6 months, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have those numbers in front of me as far as how many Switches sold by the time Odyssey came out versus this. Because honestly, the Switch 2 had a lot of units available.
I bet even it's pretty comparable
on the day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But either way, it's interesting. I think Nintendo took a big gamble putting all their eggs in the Donkey Kong basket instead of just doing a Mario Odyssey 2. I think it's clear that they're really trying to push Donkey Kong, and they're okay with it not being a big Mario game. I mean, Mario had his big game last month with Mario Kart World. I think it was still ultimately, at the end of the day, the best decision to bundle Mario Kart World with the Switch 2 instead of Donkey Kong Bonanza, even though in a lot of ways, Donkey Kong Bonanza really feels like the launch game for this system, where Mario Kart World feels like it's maybe going to be a lifetime game for the system. In my heart, I wish those were switched, but my brain tells me they made the right decision. And then lastly, I think we should talk a little bit here about just the reviews. I mean, the reviews for this game are outrageous. I think it's right now the 3rd or 4th highest rated game of the year, and that's with both Breath of the Wild re-releases, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom re-releases, beating it out there. So it's looking really, really good. IGN gave it a perfect 10 out of 10. I know before I started playing the game, that got me unreasonably hyped. But you guys have any thoughts on just the critical reception of this game before we get into the main topic?
I don't think that 10 out of 10 means that much. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm pretty sorry but because I think they gave a 10 out of 10 to Skyward Sword, which to me is like, come on, man.
So something that we all love to forget is that different reviewers like get assigned games.
Right.
At these companies.
That's
so
right.
it's not like IGN says it's a 10. No, a very specific employee at IGN gave it a 10. Whoever was assigned to rank Donkey Kong gave it a 10.
And that was Logan Plant, who is the current host of Nintendo Voice Chat over at IGN, who is the same person that gave Mario and Luigi Brothership a 5, I believe, or a 6 or whatever it is. So he's definitely he's not like I'll give everything Nintendo a 10.
No, but that is helpful context to look into what other games somebody has reviewed for sure.
Yeah.
And now you see why I'm a little bitter.
yeah, absolutely. Resident Mario and Luigi Brothership head, Jordan over here. But we're going to go ahead and call it there because we got a whole lot to talk about with Donkey Kong Bonanza. So we're going to go ahead and take a small break. And when we return, we will be talking all about our impressions of the wonderful DKB. We are back with Kyle Romero to talk all about Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm clapping. Baby. I'm pressing the R button to gather all my surroundings and pick them all up. That's right. I'm beating my chest in anticipation to talk about this game because holy smokes, we didn't know this game existed until like 3 months ago. And now we're all playing it. It's arguably in the conversation for Game of the Year. I think a lot of people have, at least it's going to be in the final nominees, you have to think. I'm so excited to talk about this, guys. I want to just get the kind of overall feeling in the room on how we're feeling about Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'll give my opinions here in a second, but I'd like to hear from you first, Kyle. What do you think so far on this game overall, and is it matching your expectations?
I mean, incredible. It's so fun. It's just a really fun game. It is, I would say, exceeding my expectations because I only had 3 months to build up the hype for it, right?
Sure.
Like, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. This could be fun. But it wasn't until like right before it came out, I was like, no, I think this might be great. And then the reviews start dropping and you're like, no, it is great. And then you touch it, you're like, I can't put it down. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Incredibly addicting gameplay.
It's incredibly addicting gameplay. I'm having a blast with it. I am, playing it kind of compulsively, because it is fun to just run around, and even just the ground slap to do the sonar is like so satisfying. But everything in it is great. Yeah, I'm having a great time with it.
Yeah, I agree. What about y'all? Let's go, Jordan. What do you think about this game so far?
This game is manipulative. It is manipulating all of my dopamine emotions to where like every 30 seconds it gives you a little reward. Mm-hmm. And then you just play this game for like an hour and you get lost and you're like, what did I just do for the past hour besides dig and collect bananas and fossils? But it's like collectathon, like distilled down to like its purest elements to just like grab you and like not let you go. So I don't know. I feel like it's manipulating my emotions, but I'm letting it do that. So here we go.
A willing manipulation. I love that. What about you, Summer?
Yeah, so I am a known has issues with 3D platformer games, mostly because I have a smooth brain. And I was ready to try to push past that for this. And I am happy to report that I only had motion sickness at first playing this. And I think that was just getting used to being in the mines. And I realized sorry, spoiler, you were in the mines at first.
We can spoil the tutorial. I think that's okay. Yeah. we're gonna do this episode spoiler free for those.
We saw that part. That part was in the treehouse months ago, right? When this game was first revealed.
It was in like Walmart as well, like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
A kiosk.
So this was my first time really, because I kind of tried to go into this not knowing too much. Right. And in that initial area, I was getting so engrossed in the gameplay that I realized that I needed to pay better attention to be more mindful with what I was doing, like with my camera, because I was starting to get sick, and I was getting sick because I was so like engrossed in like just doing whatever the heck ever with Donkey Kong's fists. Mm-hmm. But then when I finally got like out of the tutorial and was like, I guess really like quote unquote playing the game. Mm-hmm. Motion sickness gone, kind of like what Jordan was describing or what all of y'all are describing. I'm like, oh, I can't put it down. Mm-hmm. It just keeps going and it never feels like there's a good stopping point because it flows. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It just keeps
That's a really good point. Yeah, it is it's very like, I think flow is a great word for it. It does like, I'm of two minds about it because it's like I always want to do whatever the next thing is that it's put in front of my face, right? but at the same time, also I'm like making myself stop sometimes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like this game is overwhelming. You know what I mean? There is so much to do, so much to see. It's just so much game in general, right? It's like crack to me, you know, and it's like if I do too much crack, you know, it's bad. But if I do just a little amount of crack, it's awesome, right?
That's what my dad always told me.
The exact right amount, whatever that is.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. No, but I am so happy with this game. I was saying this during the break, but it's very much that Junji Ito meme. It was made for me, quite literally, because there are holes in the wall that you have to go into in the rock face quite often. I love this game so much. I have been hearing about some of the motion sickness problems. I think other people are having some of those issues as well with this game. And it doesn't surprise me. The camera in this game is probably the worst part of the game. Right? You know what I mean? It's like very, like, how are you supposed to do a 3D camera where you go in and out of the ground and the sky at will, you know?
And that was something that, immediately I was like, oh boy, this might be a problem.
Right.
It took me a bit to adjust to it. It's very disorienting.
Right.
And I'm not somebody who generally, I don't get like motion sick playing first person shooters, 3D platformers, whatever. But this one was like, you know, I had to take a second to be like, what the hell is going on? Where am I?
Yeah, and there is a sub-layer later on in the game as well. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but it plays with your mind even more on like, wait, where is the fucking camera right now? You know what I mean? You're just like, it's very... You got to really like, it's almost like when I played Mario Galaxy for the first time and the camera's looping around the planet and you're like, oh my God, I got to completely readjust to what I think a 3D platformer can be. Right. And I think that's what is so incredible about this game to me. I mean, you know, it's not just Donkey Kong. I'm obviously a huge Donkey Kong fan. I've been a Donkey Kong fan for my entire life, pretty much, or at least since I was a small child. And it's so great to see Nintendo come in fully swinging on DK and really putting all their best people on it. But I think, moreover, it's the fact that this game feels so completely fresh and new and is doing something with this genre that has never been done before, right? This kind of modular terrain, and it's a 3D platformer where the platforming will be different for everybody playing it depending on how they shape it themselves, right? And I think that's such a fresh, original idea. I think who was it? Who's the creator of Shadow of the Colossus and Ico? Do you guys know his name?
Ueda?
Yeah, Ueda. That's right. Yeah. Ueda. Ueda recently was in the news saying that, what was it? That game mechanics, it's like we've tapped out on all the game mechanics. Like we should just not do new game mechanics. Like, Nintendo did not get that memo, and they are continuing to innovate in this field. But holy moly, I think overall, I completely agree with Logan Plan on this one. This already feels to me like a masterpiece. I'm already enjoying this a lot more than Mario Odyssey. It feels like there's so much more to do than Mario Odyssey in this game, and I've been really, really enjoying that aspect of it. But let's maybe talk a little bit about where we're all at, just so people have an idea. I have a feeling I've played more of this game than you guys, but I'd like to hear what sub-layer are you guys on right now?
I'm pretty early.
Okay.
I'm assuming because there's still even Bonanzas that I haven't unlocked yet.
Right.
But I just finished. Are we worried about spoilers? I'm not gonna maybe not say the character.
Yeah. Well, maybe the sub-layer number.
Like 3 or 4.
3 or 400.
Like 3,
okay.
3 or 400.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Jordan?
I am on 500. Also 600.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay. Cool. I understand that. What about you, Summer? Are you still pretty early?
Really early. I couldn't tell you what number. Not
Okay.
those numbers.
Gotcha. Do you have a Bonanza yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got the DK Bonanza, which is the first one you get. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I am on sub-layer 1200 right now. So I have gone quite a bit further.
Sicko mode.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much what I did this weekend was
Yeah.
play this game like almost nonstop.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many bananas do you have?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
Like you can keep going all the sub layers, but
Right.
yeah.
But I can't move on until I've gotten every banana.
Okay, so
I'm similar to you, Summer.
I am not that way. So
We are so different.
I think that there was a sub-layer where I think I got like 90% of the bananas or something, but I kind of told myself, I'm like, yo, it's when the hole opens up, just jump in the hole. You know what I mean? And so that's how I've been playing this game right now. Is like
that makes perfect sense because the bananas are how you level up your skill tree. And as soon as I saw that this game had a skill tree, I was like, oh, is David going to be okay?
Yeah, I don't love skill trees. Yeah. I certainly don't. And and they overwhelm me.
Points.
But it's also this game is, we're just going to be jumping around so much in this, and that's okay. But it's like, this game is pretty easy. And I think that's been one of the complaints of this game. And so I think that there are definitely some things in the skill tree that I'm just not leveling up. Like I think I leveled up like the heart one like once or twice, and I'm like, I'm good. Like I want a little bit of challenge, even if it's self-imposed, right? Like I haven't, I made it to where like when the what is it, the melon juice or whatever, like whenever your Banergy runs out, I'm like, you get Banergy so quickly. I don't need like extra of that stuff. You know what I mean? But to answer your question, Jordan, I have 295 bananas right now.
See, I have almost the exact same amount of bananas, maybe a little bit less, and I am like half as far in the game as you.
Right.
So I think we're playing this game in a very different way.
Yeah.
I'm normally the type of person that does play that way. That like I have to see everything in this level before I move on to the next part of the game. I like, work the perimeter of every map area I come into. I eat it like a sandwich, or I eat the crust first.
Right.
Which
you can do. You could just clear out all of the destructible terrain at a level.
You could do that. And that was my worry coming into it. I was like, am I going to be compelled to just absolutely destroy every square inch of this game?
I've seen people post it online, like where it's just the metal left or whatever.
Yeah. Is that okay for me mental health wise?
I had that crisis too.
I was really worried that was and I was kind of in that zone in the opening tutorial area. I was like, it's over. I don't know if I could play this game. I'm getting anxious about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even naturally an anxious person, but I'm going like, I can't, I'm not ready to move on yet. What is going on? Kind of played the first level that way, tried to like find everything. And then finally it just took me like wanting, my desire to see what's next was more than my desire to like collect everything. I started kind of running out of steam. And then I moved on, and then I was like, okay, I'm alive now. Thunderbolt didn't strike me down because I didn't get all the bananas here.
Right.
And I've been enjoying it a lot more, just kind of going with the flow and like, oh, I find a banana here, or I see an opening in that mountain over there, and I'll go look and see what's in the, just kind of going whatever's in front of me, like you said.
Right. I think I'm doing the same thing pretty much, or that what you eventually moved into. And I think that a big reason why I'm doing that is kind of twofold. I mean, I just don't really want anything spoiled for me. So I'm trying to like kind of beat like the core story before, so I can just openly look up whatever I want basically online about this game and not worry about like having something big spoiled for me, because it does seem like there are secrets in this game, you know what I mean, that are as of yet untold, and that, the general people don't know from all the things. Like I'll say this right now, and this is not, I'm not spoiling what they are, but there are Bonanza transformations beyond the 3 that have been shown so far, right? And
awesome.
And I'm not going to talk about what those are on this episode, but I do have them, right? Which is awesome, and I really enjoy.
You're lording it over us.
Exactly, but it's like so stuff like that. Like I knew would be spoiled for me. One of them was spoiled for me, at least like what it was, but I stopped a video before I watched too much. But I think also I just want to watch like speed runs of this game like freely and like at least have like the story completed before all that. But another reason that I think I'm good just going through is that I know that this game will have a lot of post-game content. If Odyssey is anything to go by, a lot of stuff after you roll credits opens up in all the kingdoms that you were at before in Mario Odyssey. And I imagine the same thing will happen here as well. So there will be reasons for me to go back to these levels anyway. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let my like anxiety get the better of me. It's kind of like the same thought process that you have when you like don't use your best item, ever in a game because you're holding it for the final boss that never comes. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, I'm just going to go through the story and have some fun. And then I know this game will be around for a long time for me to 100% complete it down the road. But I do want to quickly say, this has been a long time since we've gotten a major DK game. This has been 11 years since Tropical Freeze came out. That's for the Wii U, obviously. It had a re-release on the Switch. And then this is the first 3D platforming Donkey Kong game in 26 years since Donkey Kong 64. A very controversial game. Not a lot of people love Donkey Kong 64. I like Donkey Kong 64, but it's certainly not among the pantheon of great Donkey Kong games for me. I do feel like, I would say Donkey Kong 64 doesn't really feel like a Donkey Kong Country game either. So I'm like, okay with this game feeling a little bit more 3D Mario coded than 3D Donkey Kong coded, since there's really only one game to go off of. But are you guys thinking like overall the kind of bananas are moons, kind of open area gameplay of Mario Odyssey, is that working for you guys like as a genre for Donkey Kong?
Absolutely. I just also wanted to say first, welcome to being a Metroid fan where you have to wait about 11 years for any new game to come out in your franchise that you love. But yeah, it's actually really working for me. I wasn't really sold until I really got my hands on it, but just like, there are so many open world games now, and I don't even know if I'd call this an open world game because it feels like it still is level based, right?
It is.
And like large open levels and sections and stuff. But like, I feel like where they really fall down is it's like they're just not fun enough to play to want to do all the little like side things. Like I feel like Ubisoft, they have a problem with that as well as with Assassin's Creed. It's like, I don't want to do every little quest. I don't really care. But like this game, it's like the smashing mechanics and the destruction mechanics are so fun that it compels me to want to collect every little bip and bop around the map. It's like I wouldn't if it wasn't so much fun to just move around and play.
Yeah. And they find little things to do with the smashing mechanic that just maybe take, 30 seconds for you to do it in the game, but it's like, oh, that was cool. Like they thought through like what you could do with that, I'm trying to speak very broadly about it. I don't want to spoil any specific moments for anybody.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. I think I know what you're talking about, but I agree. It's like in a game where you could like dig almost anywhere. It really feels like dig and smash and go up and down and all this kind of stuff. Like when I first heard of this game, I was like, oh man, there's going to be bananas like hidden every random place. I'm going to have to dig forever to find everything. It's like, no, it's all very intelligently designed. You know what I mean? Like nothing feels like it's just, hey, you better just dig and hope you find something. It's like, and in fact, I think some of the great stuff about the digging is that there's RNG to it. You know what I mean? Like the chests are RNG, there's an item you can get early on, a tie that DK can wear that ups the likelihood of you to find chests as you dig.
I have not taken that tie off yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm keeping that tie on for a long time.
Apparently the meta is to level up that tie to level 3 because you can like up the levels of them in the shops and get as many chests as you can, right? Because you get tons of gold that way. But yeah, I love that element, and it makes it almost like gambling. It's almost like a loot box. Like every time you dig, it's like, am I going to get a chest this time?
Let's go
like
gambling.
yeah, exactly.
I am next week.
yeah, exactly. But
for those of us that
put
can't,
some money on those battle bots.
For those of us that can't go to Las Vegas, we have Donkey Kong tie.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, I think that the obviously the smashing and the destruction is a huge part of it. Do you have any thoughts on kind of just like the game feel? Summer of the movement, the destruction, stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll use the word I said it earlier again. It's really a flow, figuring out what to do. Yeah, I think it really is just good game design. I mean, again, a baby could play it, but I am enjoying it as an adult, sometimes baby. So you don't like... Yes, there's the tutorialization of it all, like making sure that you know what buttons do what, but sometimes my brain kind of just blips and I just push buttons and it does things and I'm like, wee! So I'm kind of playing it like a baby. And I think that's good. And that's my professional podcast opinion.
Play it like a baby and it's good.
Play it like a baby, it's good.
If you can play a game like a baby and enjoy it, sometimes that's what you want. I don't know.
Honestly,
sometimes that's what you need.
I mean, that's what we're describing, right? With the like letting go your need to compulsively find everything. Like that's how a child would play. You would just follow the fun.
Yes.
Right.
You would do what is pleasing to you in that moment. And
I love that. Follow the fun. Yeah.
The game really encourages that behavior,
Yeah.
And it's paced so well because of the speed with which you're finding stuff, I mean, Odyssey did this a little bit where it's like there's so many moons in that game. It's just, a far cry from the 120 or whatever it was Super Mario 64.
Right.
But you almost will like accidentally get one,
Right.
All the time. And this like perfects that rhythm where, now you have the sonar. And so you can be doing something, you can be focused on a task or just like tearing down a wall that you feel like tearing down, and you'll hit the sonar to collect the gold, which is everywhere. And then you'll see something out of the corner of your eye and go like, oh, wow, what's over there? And that's happening like all the time, constantly you're finding a new thing, whether it's a fossil or a banana or like other kinds of fossil, there's just like all kinds of stuff. It's the pacing is perfect.
Yeah, and I can't tell if I love it or hate it when I like am just digging randomly and then I find a banana and then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna trace through where I was supposed to go to find this banana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you kind of like reverse engineer the like game design to figure out like, oh, okay, well here was the tunnel there was a door I was supposed to see that led me here.
Yeah.
Rather, I just busted my ass like through like a whole diagonal, half the stage,
which is so Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong would do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It put you in the feeling of the character.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's the beauty of this game is like the game designers want you to do both. They don't care if you smash your way to it or you go the way that's like quote unquote intended. Like it doesn't matter because
it doesn't feel punitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you come at it the wrong way, you don't feel like, oh, I missed something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I do a little bit, but there's so much to do that I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is what makes this game feel kind of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and almost like an extension of that game design philosophy, because you're just like, okay, I'm going this way. And then suddenly you're like, no, I'm actually going to go a completely opposite direction because I saw a Korok seed that way. Oh, now I see some horses in the distance. Let me go see that. Oh, there's now like a little village that I just found. Let's go check out and see what those people are up to. And then you're like, wait, I was supposed to be going to the mountain. And it's like the same thing happens in this game where you're just like, okay, I'm going to go get this one banana. And then suddenly, oh, I see a challenge gate. Let's go to there. Oh, now I see a fossil. Let's go to there. And you just like ping ponging around. But I think that's like, it's like interesting to see their design philosophy kind of like keep expanding beyond games that you would expect it to. Because this is like ostensibly kind of a sequel to Mario Odyssey and has like a lot of similar design systems, but it's also like an extension of Zelda in my mind.
Yeah,
even the falling.
Yeah. At the beginning, you're kind of falling through the air.
Sure.
There's a shot very similar to Tears of the Kingdom. It's funny. I feel I made a post on Blue Sky about this, but I feel like so much of modern Nintendo's identity has come through them taking what works from Minecraft. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Tears of the Kingdom had all like the building of stuff and the customization. This has the kind of digging through the earth and kind of forging your own path. Obviously the Nintendo Online Playtest is very Minecraft coded. You've got Animal Collective. The new Animal Collective has so much crafting, like crafting tables from Minecraft. And I feel like there's lots of little, like you said, they're pulling from Odyssey. They're pulling from Legend of Zelda. They're pulling from Minecraft. I feel like there's so many references to the Donkey Kong Country games in this too. You know what I mean? All the little fossils are all the characters they couldn't quite fit in. A lot of the Bananza transformations are all kind of based on animal buddies from previous Donkey Kong Country games. It feels like it's a real celebration of Nintendo, in all of its facets up until this point. And I think that is like such a cool thing and a good way to do it instead of just trying to do Donkey Kong Country, but in 3D. I'm glad that they kind of moved DK into Mario's shoes here and had him like, play in that kind of sandbox a little bit and then turned it into its own thing. I think that's pretty amazing. Might be worth talking a little bit while we're talking about comparisons to Mario Odyssey is the movement and platforming is just sublime in this game. Like I think doing the roll into a jump and then a roll in the air and then punching to get as much like, speed and distance as possible with each run. Like anytime, and I'm still finding out meta. Like I actually did watch a video on some like speed run tech, like when you're doing the turf surfing, instead of actually surfing on a rock, you can turf cancel, which is where like you jump and then you press ZL and then press ZL again and you get like a little boost in the air. And then from there you do a jump and then a roll and then the thing. And it's like putting all these things together. It's just like the movement tech is insane in this game if you want to go really deep into it, but you don't have to. You could just play a lot more simply if you prefer. But what you guys got any feeling on just like this game as a 3D platformer?
Yeah, it just feels really good. It's very satisfying. The turf surfing, the first time you turf surf, it's like, oh yeah, it took me a bit to get the hang of it. There's a challenge room that is like you discover it like right after you first learned about turf surfing. And that one was my one time, well, not one time, but that was like the biggest time where I was like, bumping my head up against the wall. Like I keep falling off the edge. I keep, bumping into stuff. And then finally, I'm getting the hang of it. It's like, yeah, now we're cooking. Now I'm really riding. It's great.
Yeah.
But even just running around, and the animations, of course, are so good. They look great. I accidentally swung the camera in front. Like I had Donkey Kong running towards the camera at one point, and he's got a very determined face when he's doing that, and it kills me. It's great.
So expressive. Yeah.
It's so and we'll talk. We'll talk more about the design later, but it's satisfying to play.
I just want to mention that because I'm playing the game like a baby, I accidentally turf surfed like immediately and was like, "Whoa, I don't."
Buttons.
Yeah, I think I truly was just trying to remember like what to do, and I was just kind of like, I saw an enemy, and so I panicked and I pressed a bunch of buttons, and then I was surfing. I was "Oh no, another thing!"
Yeah. We've obviously got the Bananza transformations as well, which kind of have their own things in them. I know there's obviously the one that you have. We will talk here about some of the other ones that have been revealed so far, such as the ostrich Bananza and the zebra Bananza. Zebra allows you to run really fast. Ostrich allows you to fly. I think that opens up a lot of interesting gameplay things that you can do here. I think it also does make the game pretty easy in some aspects. I think like a lot of the boss battles, people talk about how the boss battles are way too simple in this game, and I agree. It was also a huge problem that I had with Mario Odyssey. It's like the boss battles are over in like 20 seconds, and you're like, okay, I know the game is all about running around and exploring and all this kind of stuff, but I do wish that some of the boss battles were a little more difficult. But, I think having those Bananza transformations, I think it might have been Logan Plant in his review or on NVC who said it's basically like being able to turn into supersonic whenever you want. You know what I mean? Instead of like, in very specific moments, right? So it does feel a little overpowered.
They're really generous with the, Bananergy.
Yeah.
It's very easy. Like I will, pull the trigger on the Bananza and then almost instantly I'm back to full gauge,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I might as well play the whole game like this.
Yeah, which is fine.
Hot buff Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it is. We love buff characters in our Discord, and boy howdy, this is the buffest game yet.
He is
created.
A big boy.
Yeah. I agree. I'm kind of gating myself again. I'm just like I try to stay regular DK as much as possible. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like I have more fun that way, right? And it's like a little bit more challenging, and it's sort of like a self-inflicted challenge that I put on myself with this game. So I'm not just like I don't want to just blast through everything with the DK Bananza transformation, but if you want, you can, or the Kong Bananza rather, you can just do that, especially if you're having trouble with the combat. It's like just switch to Kong Bananza and it'll be a lot easier for you to take out a lot of these bad guys. You can break a lot of substances, or I guess not substances, but hardness surfaces. That you couldn't as regular DK. Let's maybe jump a little bit forward. I'd like to talk a little bit about story and characters, because something we haven't really talked about yet that I know, Summer, you're a big fan of, is Pauline. And I think that, Pauline being a character in this game, when I kind of, first saw it, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And this could be kind of cool. This could be a little too like sappy or saccharine or whatever, but I love Pauline as a companion in this game. I think that she is so cool, and she's got a really great like mindset and worldview. And I like that she's really nervous to sing all the time. And this game is kind of as much a game about DK as it is about Pauline overcoming her fear of like public speaking and singing in front of people. I just think that's wonderful. What are your thoughts on Pauline as a companion in this game so far?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually like reflecting to myself about like wondering why they chose the age 13 for her for this game specifically. Because it's kind of different for a Nintendo. Usually they go with like a very clear like young child, or they go for like an older teen or like an established adult. So I thought just kind of like that precipice like preteen age was interesting, like was an interesting choice. And I think what I kind of came to reflecting like on this specifically was they wanted her to be like a developed like person with thoughts and feelings, because like DK doesn't need to be taking care of a child. But I think anything older would maybe be like too realized, and it's very much maybe like a coming of age story for Pauline in that way of her like literally finding her voice. But also like seeing a person like that is like an age of like seeing a personality, but not quite being an adult, figuring things out in that kind of way. Not to overanalyze like Pauline's place in this game. But literally like I was walking my dog and I was like, I wonder wonder why they made Pauline 13. And then I started to think about ages and just where we are as humans in that aspect. It was just, so yeah, needless to say, or I don't need to say much more. This is a showcase how much I love Pauline. I love that she's getting like a whole new EP with this game. Like she is no longer a one-hit wonder. We've got all these new songs for her.
Every Bonanza has a different song.
Yeah,
that plays in the background. Yeah,
truly, when I got the first Bonanza, I was like, oh, this game's like actually about music because of the emphasis on finding the records and the power coming from music.
Yeah, all the elders are DJs, which I think is so
Isn't that awesome?
So cool.
The air horn sound that plays as soon as they say the kind of Bonanza it is I'm super into it. I think it's very fun. We are keeping up the energy in the club. We are making sure that, like, we are paying attention to the vibe, and we are reacting appropriately like any good DJ should. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I love all of Pauline's costumes necessarily.
Sure.
But some of them are cool. Some of them I'm like, yo, I would not go out dressed like that.
You look stupid.
Yeah, maybe that's just 13-year-old girl figuring out her fashion sense. But any other thoughts from y'all on just like having Pauline as a companion?
Every time I push the button to like have her sing and unlock a challenge portal or, you know, whatever else, I'm like, she sounds great. This is fun.
Yeah, that singing when you're unlocking like a challenge portal is giving me like Cruisin' USA vibes. Yeah, like, and I really like that. Like, it just brings a smile to my face every single time I unlock that tape.
Yeah.
For me, it's like it sounds like the part in Defying Gravity when she goes off, you know, like it sounds close enough to that to every time she does it. I'm like, oh, wow.
It's a Delta Zeme coded. Absolutely.
We're holding space.
Yeah, we're holding space for Pauline in this game. Yeah. Absolutely. No, and it's great. And you know, and she talks a lot, you know, so it's like, but it's often like, it's often like helpful, you know, it's like, she's like, there's only one left. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I actually lost track of how many more things I had to find. Or like, you know, I think it's funny whenever you like beat the stony carapace of your enemy, like off of its body and its gold skeleton that's exposed. And Pauline's like, kill him. You know, like, do it. Like, yeah, exactly. Do it. It's very, very funny to me how bloodthirsty she can be sometimes. And it's also, there's whenever you like open up the little homes where you can take naps and like refill your hearts, you know, you can skip right through that stuff. But every time you do it, every time you have a new upgrade for every single sublayer, there's unique dialogue from Pauline where she's like, hey, DK, are you awake? And you could be like, you can either be like, nah, I'm asleep, or you can be like, what's up? And then she's always just like, this place is pretty cool, huh? Oh, I'm so tired. And it's just like these little
what adventure we're on.
Yeah, but she'll talk about, she's like, man, this sure is a pretty cold place. I don't know if you mind if I snuggle a little closer, you know, like all this kind of stuff. It's like unique to each little zone. And it's like, and sometimes I'm like, all right, shut the fuck up. I'm just trying to heal. But like sometimes it's like really nice, you know, that they took the time to add all that, you know, and it really deepens the kind of characterization between the two of them. And I think that's pretty fabulous.
Yeah, I find it very charming, but I did find myself the other day like getting indignant and like defensive of DK because so often she's bringing up like, you know, boy, you love bananas. You know?
She's like, I bet you were dreaming about bananas, weren't you?
Yeah, there was one that was like, I had a nightmare that I was a banana and you ate me. It's like, chill out, let my man live. You know,
that's true.
Like,
true.
You're banana shaming DK.
That is so true.
And it's not just her; it's like everyone you run into is always like, God damn, this guy loves bananas. You know?
But I mean,
to be fair, he does. They're right.
It's an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, obviously the Void Company are kind of the bad guys here. I don't want to kind of get too into all the bosses, but I do like them. I think they have more personality than like the wedding rabbits or whatever from Mario Odyssey,
sure.
which were fine. The Brutals, I think they're called.
Yes.
And they're definitely, I like that there's less of them in this game, so you get to know them a little bit more. Even then, they're still pretty surface level. I think Void Kong is kind of definitely a mustache twirling villain. There's not a lot to him. I suspect there's more there. I won't go into anything that I know, but it seems like there might be surprises towards the end of this game, given just kind of how these characters are developing. There's also the fractones, which are kind of the rock creatures. Obviously when you first encounter Pauline, she's encased in an odd rock, and then she kind of breaks free, and it seems that these rock creatures are a big part of the underground world where this game takes place quite a bit. So there's some interesting stuff. A lot of the layers have unique, different kinds of species of animals that live within them, which I find pretty funny. I think the zebra guys are really funny because they all say bra. They're like, what's going, bra? And I was like, dude, why do they say bra? And I was like, oh, it's because they're zebras. That makes a lot of sense. But any other thoughts on just like the story of this game before we move on to some of the other stuff?
I do think it's a little funny that the whole premise of the game is going to the core of the planet, where DK can like climb on anything, and he could have just climbed out to the surface again, probably pretty instantly at the very beginning of the game, but he just wants to keep going for some reason.
For bananas. He wants bananas.
Yeah. Just go back home, man.
There are story reasons why he's going down that you learn as you go.
I do like
little lore drops.
It's constantly saying like go to the planet core is like your only objective, really.
Yeah.
And every time I read Planet Core, I read it in the boss man's voice.
Planet Core.
Every single time I do the Planet Core.
We should go through there. Good stuff, dude. I think that this game could have used more Gungans for sure.
Honestly, yeah. Let me get to the Gungan layer.
What do we think about just kind of like the overall like level design of this game? That kind of progression of the different layers, falling into them, like very, again, Tears of the Kingdom coded with the underground, kind of the challenge stages. Like, is that satisfying to you, that kind of gameplay loop of descending further?
Yeah, I think so. And it's always fun, the reveal of like, the next layer, like what its deal is, when you discover like the design of it. And I find very fun. And then the challenge rooms too, I love and same thing in Odyssey. It's like, you've got this great open world ish rhythm, and then have a more like focused design, like you're doing this thing is great to break that up. And every time I find one, I'm like very excited to see what the deal is. I love the battle ones less. Those all seem like, pretty easy in the same way that the boss battles are pretty easy. There was one I ran into recently that I just was like, oh, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. They're all kind of little puzzles, as long as you're not using your Kong Bananza to just body them all.
Right. I mean? Yeah. 9 times out of 10 that it is, or not 9 times out of 10, but often it is like punch these guys, but yeah, when you run into a battle one specifically that's not that, is like, whoa, wait a minute, let me readjust. But yeah, for the most part, they're all fantastic.
Yeah, I think like Odyssey before it, I really just love how colorful this game is. Like every lair just is so lush with all different sorts of like vegetation, little creatures that you can't really even interact with. Like there's like little lizards that are like bright blue that just exist in the ground. As you're digging through, you'll see a little lizard crawl out. Like just all those like little flourishes really make the world just feel more alive and fun to play through. Especially, it's like I just played through Last of Us Part 1 recently, which is a gorgeous game with some of the best like graphics I've seen in a video game ever. However, you're just running through like abandoned buildings that are all like brown, black, gray, beige. This is like nice to run around. It's like this level's a lot of green with like red little vines, and this one's like more, blue. I don't know. I just really like, I like it. The color, I like
It's
it.
good.
Makes my
It's
brain
nice
feel
to look
good.
at.
Yeah, I think graphically this game is like really beautiful. I think, there's elements of this game that look a little like weirdly dated. And I think that's because everything is made with these voxels, you know what I mean? And it's like you can really only be so detailed with everything when everything is destructible, right? So that's definitely a trade-off that they made in designing this game, is like, like we're going to make sure everything is like bold and bright and colorful because it's maybe lacking some of the detail that you would see in a lot of other games. But I think that the trade-off is completely good and valid.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't have it any other way. I think this game wouldn't be this game without that trade-off, right? And so I think that is such a cool way to have done it. I think it's fantastic. I love how big a lot of these stages are. I think a lot of them are a lot bigger than Mario Odyssey stages. I think the biggest Mario Odyssey stages is kind of like the standard stage, like for this game. Like New Donk City feels like kind of small compared to these because almost all of the layers have like sub layers. You'll start on like 300 and then go down to 301 and then down to 302, and it kind of opens up more and more and more as you go. And so verticality is a big part of this game, way more than in Odyssey it ever was, right? And I think that because you can climb on everything, I think that it really lends itself to more vertically oriented stages. And I think it also just gives you more nooks and crannies to hide little secrets. Like, it's fun to explore in this game, right?
It does make the map difficult to wrap your head around, at least for me,
Yeah.
because of all that detail, because of all those nooks and crannies. But it is good to pull up the map and be like, what's going on over here? You can kind of see like, oh, there is a little nook or a little cranny, and you can pin it and go, let me go check out what's going on over there. As opposed to Odyssey, which was the navigation in that was, I found frustrating at times. Be like, it's over here. That was like a 2D map, right? It was very, I found that a little more difficult. But there was more discoverability happening in that one, I guess. But this one feels like I'm doing I'm actively discovering it because I'm able to see these little spots, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I just want to shout out the map real quick, like that it modifies to whatever destruction you have done. It's just incredible.
It's awesome.
Like blows my mind, because the map really reminds me of playing like a Metroid Prime game, which has like a 3D map, but like in hindsight is now like a little like jarring and confusing.
It's like abstract compared to this, right?
Exactly. This is cool because you can see every piece of the map actual. And then like when you go back into the game, it kind of zooms back in such a way that it makes sense with how you were looking at the map. And then also we'll have like little icons like that, like, if you have a map for a fossil, it'll have that little icon on your screen for like 5 to 10 seconds so that you can see it in the distance. It's just like, it's beautiful. So just wanted to shout out the map.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think it's really great. And it's like it's kind of easy, especially because you're constantly changing the terrain, to get lost and to not have like a good sense of place. And I think that sometimes when I get to a new layer, I just immediately pop the map open. You know what I mean? And I just kind of like get the lay of the area so I can carry through and like have a better sense of place and like where I am in the space. And I think that kind of the camera going zip and out and like showing this like lower detailed version of the whole world, and then you seeing where it is that you need to go. It's like, oh, okay, this is where I want to go. And then the camera goes, zoop. It just makes it to where you're like, okay, I know exactly. The camera turned as I was going back in to the player thing, and it's like, set me on my path right now. So I think it's, there's obviously some performance issues when the map comes up, the frame rate drops quite a bit. But it's fine. It's a map. You know what I mean?
Right,
I'm not like trying to, do precision platforming when it's up. And it's just, I'm glad they went with this like 3D voxel map thing. It's just like, it just works so well for this style of exploration. And I really love that. Maybe we should talk a little bit about performance issues. I know that a lot of people were really, before this came out, we're like, oh shit, it has lots of frame drops. And even the developers of the game were like, we were prioritizing fun instead of like performance or whatever. I'll say this right now. if you're worried about performance problems in this game, don't worry about performance problems in this game. This game performs excellently. I think that like when there are frame drops, I don't care. They're at points where it does not matter. And most of the game is so incredibly smooth, and the game itself is just so fun. That has not been a problem for me. Have any of y'all had any issues with performance so far? Summer, it looks like you maybe have something.
Yeah, and I will go ahead and be the voice that, because I'm not as Donkey Kong pilled, maybe.
Sure.
That based on all of the advertising just related to the Switch 2 and Switch 2 specific games leading up to this release, I did expect better.
Mm-hmm.
And things like frame rate drops are what make games more difficult for people like me to play.
Sure.
When they drop like that, that's when I get headaches. That's when it actually screws up my brain. So I would really love to see this get patched. I would love for them to be working on this, because that is what is literally like physically going to stop me from being able to continue to play a game for as long as I maybe would. Like, that's going to cut my PlayStation sessions short the more times that the frames drop like that.
Interesting. Yeah, it hasn't really been my experience, I think, but I'm not as sensitive to that as you are,
right?
For sure.
Exactly, and I just want to make sure that I voice that, because I know that some other people do have that experience, but we don't talk about it because, again, like I know I say it a lot on this podcast, but like almost like as a reclaiming thing, like smooth brain, because like that has been used like as a hardcore insult for a very long time. So I'm just like, I just like to voice it of like, it would be nice if I could play the game a little longer too.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah. I did have a full crash to the home menu. I haven't heard anyone else have that issue. I'm the only one that I'm aware of that has had this game crash on them. I found this like cave of it was entirely gold on one of the layers. I think it was sub layer 900, maybe 901. And I just went fucking hog wild. And then a bunch of stuff was crashing. And then I did my sonar, and then it crashed my game whenever I did the sonar as well. So I think it was like all the different, destruction sims happening on top of doing this like deep finding new items thing, like was a little bit too much for the game. But that's the only time it's happened. And again, I haven't heard of anyone else having that issue. It's not like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, which was crashing quite a bit for me on certain menus that I would open. But there was something else I wanted to bring up as well, and I'm kind of forgetting. Anybody have anything they want to throw out while I'm remembering what I was going to say about this game?
No, I don't think so. I think I was just thinking about how the frame drops feel so rare to me that it doesn't really. I didn't mean to make a rare pun.
Rareware to you?
It feels very rareware to me. But I think that's because I was finding myself going like, well, why are people talking about the performance so much? Because it doesn't seem that bad to me. But I think it is a combination of other people being more sensitive to it, like you said, Summer, and then also, the standard's so high for Nintendo, right? People just aren't used to seeing frame drops in Nintendo games as often as they see it in other stuff. So I think that is probably what explains it. But yeah, I think definitely if you're like staying away, because I was a little bit like, oh, should I wait till it gets patched? I don't find that it's an issue for me.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that might also have to do with the fact that this was originally a Switch 1 game, and it feels like it's maybe not completely optimized for this system. It feels almost like I'm playing a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of a Switch 1 game. You know what I mean? In some ways, right? Which is interesting. I think it's not really taking advantage of the full horsepower of the Switch in a way. I mean, obviously the destruction and particle sims and everything in this game are out of this world. And I think any game that's doing a bunch of that is going to have a little bit of slowdown. But for me, it has been a non-issue completely. I think that we need to wrap this up, but I did want to quickly, just because so many of the Donkey Kong games, especially Donkey Kong Country, are synonymous with music. What are you guys' thoughts on the soundtrack to this game before we wrap this up? Are you guys enjoying the music here? It's obviously not David Wise, but there's a couple amazing tracks. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on the music so far?
Yeah, I think it's great. I find myself, maybe this is just an old man thing, but like, when there are familiar motifs, that's when I'm like, yes, remembering Donkey Kong Country going back there. The newer stuff, other than the Bananza transformations, those are the ones that I'm like, yo, those was like,
they're
wow,
kind of Splatoony.
They're very Splatoony. Yes.
Yeah.
And like I've been trying to figure out like what they're saying.
Impossible.
Yeah, it sounds like scatting basically, but yeah, those are great, and I'm finding myself like, kind of humming them around the house or whatever. You know, when I'm not playing the game, I'm thinking about those songs. But the score, other than that, is great. It just is not making as much of an impact as those.
That's fair. And it's hard. It's kind of being like, okay, here, compare this to like some of the best video game soundtracks ever made, so it's tough. And they obviously do have some of those returning themes, especially in the country challenge rooms, which are kind of the throwback side scrolling challenge rooms, which are really interesting. There is that one track in the kind of big first area that you go to, which has the da ba da 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 boom ba or whatever. That song is stuck in my head all the time, dude. I think that is one of the best. That is up there in the pantheon of like great Donkey Kong songs for me. Like, and it's and it's got like within it, it's got little note motifs to the do as like kind of a refrain in there or whatever. But I love that track. I think there's a lot of like ambient music in this game, which I was not really anticipating. Not ambient in like an aquatic ambience way, but rather in like as you're falling down the shafts, you get this kind of like weird, like high-pitched vocal, echoey stuff, which is like just really evocative. And there's a lot of tracks in here I can see adding to like a sleep playlist at some point, which I was not expecting in a game that is so built around like destruction. There's just a lot of like really calm, quiet moments. But I think overall, I really enjoy it. I am a little disappointed. It seems whenever you're in your home and you've got the turntable and you can play all the tracks, it seems like there's like the effect on it sounds like it's coming from a speaker within the game.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, dude, come on, just play the tracks at like full quality so I can do like, they're really just making it so where you have to have Nintendo music if you want to listen to this soundtrack, because you can't really do like soundtrack rips of this game now because of that, right? Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But man, there's so much more we could say about this game, and there's so much that I forgot that I knew I wanted to bring up that I didn't bring up in this episode. But I just want to say, like, overall, I think this game is a masterpiece, man. I think this is one of the best games Nintendo has ever made. I think this is like truly EPD Tokyo, the Odyssey team, playing at like the height of their abilities in creating this game. I think it is so much to do that I know I'll be playing this game for like 60 hours and replaying this game in the future and going back to it. I think this is a worthy game for Donkey Kong. I think it's finally time that Donkey Kong has a 3D platformer that you can look at with pride and universally, you know what I mean? And I think just overall, like, they really made the fun of this the most important part of it, right? Over anything else, they really just made this game fun to play. And I don't know, I'm beside myself. Any closing thoughts on this game before we throw it to our next segment?
I'm really glad this is out now, because like I have been using my Switch as a Switch 2 as a like, oh, I'm going to play a new indie game kind of machine. I'm not a huge Mario Kart person outside of like playing socially. So I was like really waiting for something to show off the power of the new system. Because like, don't get me wrong, Mario Kart World is great, but it's just another Mario Kart game in a lot of ways for me personally. Mm-hmm. So this one being able to like showcase the power of all the like destruction and everything. It's like, this is one game that would not run on the Switch One nearly as well, as good as this one looks right now. So I'm really happy to be like, have like the next gen title that really feels like that. Yeah.
DK stands for Duh Killer App. For the system.
How long you had that one in your pocket?
I've thought about that like 3 weeks ago. Anyway, I will say one of my fan theories about this game was correct, in that the reason that Pauline does not call Donkey Kong is because Donkey Kong doesn't speak English and he's got a big tie that just says DK.
Oh,
So she's like, I'll call you DK, and I was like, oh, dang, that was exactly, they made that a plot point in this game, which I did not think they were going to do. But really great stuff. I love it so much. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. What do you think about this game, listener? If you're enjoying Donkey Kong Bonanza, please let us know in the comments. Or if you haven't picked up this game, has this made you more excited to pick it up? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe down the line, we'll do more of a spoiler episode on this game because, man, I think there's going to be a lot to talk about with the end game in particular for this, and I'd love to go more into detail about that later on. But we're going to go ahead and take a small break, and we're going to move on to our final segment, which is the games we've been playing recently. So I mostly have been playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, obviously, but there were 2 N64 style indie games that came out that have been on my wish list for a really long time that came out this week. And I definitely wanted to at least give them a little bit of a try so I could talk about them on the show at the very least this week. And that is Super 10-Pin and Y2 Roll. And Super 10-Pin is such an N64 ass game. This game, like, really, it's got an N64 style to it, but on top of that, it just has an N64 like game design sensibility. It's like a futuristic bowling game where you are like bowling, but you have control over your spin, like as long as your ball is going down the track, which can be winding, it can have jumps, it can have all this different kind of stuff. So I'm really enjoying Super 10-Pin. I think that game it's incredibly fun. It came out, I think it was like if you bought it on itch, you also get the Steam code for it. That's a better way to buy it because it supports the developer a little bit more. So I really recommend that. And then the other game that I got is also an N64 style game that involves rolling balls, and that is Y2 Roll. And this is essentially if Super Monkey Ball was an N64 game. I'm really enjoying this a lot. I'm kind of just tertiarily playing through all the levels right now, getting all the gems, which kind of are the bananas that you would get in a Super Monkey Ball game for right now. And then I'm going to go through and try to hit, speed strats and try to beat this game with, more like time trial stuff in mind. But this game's really fun. I know it was all made in Godot. I've been following this developer for a while. So if you're a fan of the Monkey Ball games and you like kind of low poly, low resolution N64 style games, definitely this is a good one to pick up. I'd really recommend it. But that's mostly what I've been playing. What about you, Jordan?
I started replaying Super Mario Odyssey like maybe Monday last week just to kind of like get hyped and just kind of remind myself what this game was about. I never really 100% did that game. So it's like, oh, maybe I'll start at like a 100% playthrough. But man, what an incredible game. And I'm so glad I took the time to play it a little bit before Donkey Kong Bonanza, because I'm able to see kind of like the evolution of the gameplay style, like coming from that game into this game. And yeah, David, it was so funny. I completely forgot about the Broodals. So when you were talking about it earlier, it's like, yeah, they're so forgettable. And all those boss battles of the Broodals are like so bland, and I feel like I've done them before, except for they were turtles instead, or
right.
the Koopalings. So I was just like, anyway. But I mean, that being said, it's just still such an incredible game. It still has such a good game feel.
Very much so, yes.
I really wanted to try it out on Switch 2 as well and just see the upgrade. And the upgrade is absolutely breathtaking. It like breathes a whole new set of life into that game, which I'll be playing that for years to come. But other than that, it just Bonanza. As soon as Bonanza came out, I picked up. I haven't put anything else in my Switch.
Yeah, I think the two games, Mario Odyssey and Bonanza, they work so well together. I mean, I do think that I prefer Bonanza, but Odyssey is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece as well. And I think, like you said, playing the game in handheld on Switch 2, like with the 1080p screen and the perfect frame rate, it looks so good. And then I think it scales all the way up to 4K as well when you're playing it on a TV. So that's really amazing and definitely good timing having this game have its Switch 2 version while we also have Bonanza to play. What about you, Summer? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so I have been playing this fun little indie game. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Date Everything. I believe for Nintendo fans, it was revealed during a Nintendo Direct
or
at
Indie
one
World,
point,
maybe?
like an indie showcase, something like that. And went into it, definitely wanting just a fun, silly experience. And it is that. It is also, without spoiling anything in this game, because obviously games like this, you're like, there's going to be something more to it. But the something more to this game is just the absolute like devotion of, it is like about love, but like the game itself is a love letter to game development. And in a sense, you are kind of, there's a lot that's really meta about this game. And there's 107 voice actors in it as well.
Holy
and
shit.
Many of those voice actors are also developers, like people who have just also gotten into other aspects of game dev because it's just an industry that they love so much. And there's just so much going on there in that realm with this game. If you have any curiosity about it at all, like seriously pick it up. It's so enjoyable. It is easy to pick up and play either for like long amounts or not. There is technically a plot, and it because they have to get you into that situation in the first place somehow, right? But it's quite enjoyable. It's quite meta if you're into that kind of thing. But it's also only as meta as you want it to be. You don't have to look into it that way like I do. But that all being said, if you pick this game up on Switch, message me. There are some bugs that can like they're kind of game breaking that you have to like figure out how to. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
They are actively continuing to release patches for it though. Like they're all known glitches. From what I understand, it runs for the most part okay on Steam. They are actively like working on fixing some of these things, but like it is pretty messed up on the Switch, but like there's ways around it as well. Or try to exploit them. I don't know. I'm not you.
Speed strats. Glitchless.
Yeah.
Very cool. What about you, Kyle? What have you been playing?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys have said, it's been heavily on Bonanza lately. Right before Bonanza came out, I was starting to get into Skyward Sword HD because that I realized that was the
10 out of 10 game. Skyward Sword.
The one that famously that's the one like mainline Zelda game that I hadn't played. I'm probably not alone in that. And so I was like, I the completionist in me. I have to finish it. And I started it, and I'm enjoying it. It's challenging. The controls, like the camera control on the Switch with I keep switching back and forth between like the motion controls and do I use the Pro controller? Do I use the Joy-Con? So I find that a little annoying, but it's a Zelda game. It feels like a Zelda game. So that's exciting. Here's a Zelda game that I haven't played.
Yeah.
The one I didn't put in here that I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk about on a Switch podcast, but unfortunately I have been playing a lot of Destiny 2. The new expansion came out. And,
hey, you can talk about Destiny on the podcast.
I'm a real Destiny 2 sicko. And I thought I was out. I had finished the last expansion. They wrapped the 10-year story up, and I was like, good, I'm satisfied. And then they overhauled a bunch of systems, and they're like made it easier to kind of pick up and play and not have to be so grindy and so like plugged into all the streamers who are giving you all of the meta,
Right.
And I'm really enjoying it. Plus, I know somebody, David, I think you might know this person too, who is the voice actor for like the main new character.
Is it Brian?
Expansion. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, Villalobos.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I have to play it because of that,
Right.
And so, yeah, I've been enjoying it. A lot of people, if you don't go on the Destiny Reddit, they are big mad about it, but I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I've never played Destiny, but I do know a lot of people that have worked on those games throughout the years in different capacities. But yeah, no, both of the games that I played were both on my Steam Deck. So we are We are not
okay,
only Nintendo guys. It's a safe space. It's a safe space. But I'm glad you're enjoying Skyward Sword. I also love that game. But I think that's going to do it for this episode on Donkey Kong Bananza. Oh my God, gang. Can you believe it? We did it. Thank you so much, Kyle, for joining us. Would love to have you on the show again sometime.
Please.
Such a delight. Great time. Absolutely. Thank you so much to MilkyWay.co for doing our website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. Thanks to all of our patrons on Patreon. And if you would like to find me on the internet, I am pretty much everywhere at Monolith Fiji.
You can find me at Weebwitched.
I want to mention before I say where you can find me, and this is, I'm telling you, Summer and David, right now live, I'm going to be on the Devolver Digital Forecast recording tomorrow, representing the Super Switch Headz.
Let's go.
But, anyway, so go ahead and check that out. I'll post it in our Discord. But if you want to find me on the internet, you can find me at Bordan.
And what about you, Kyle? Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at It's Kyle Romero, for all of my various projects that I'm working on. And then on Blue Sky, I am, hold on, Kyle.thatbothers.me, which is such an inside baseball Heathcliff reference.
Right.
And when I changed it, I was so excited, and then I realized this is inscrutable to anyone else. But that's my handle on Blue Sky.
That's all good. And please give a plug to your podcast as well.
Yes. I'm the co-host of the Meatcast. It is a Heathcliff podcast. So every week we look at the week's Heathcliff. Yes, the comic strip. The other Orange Cat, as you may know him, and me and my co-host Nick Ramirez, we talk about those, and mostly they're just a jumping off point for us to talk about other things, various fast food items that we're enjoying of late. It's basically, if you like Doughboys, we've found that we've accidentally just done Doughboys again.
Interesting.
But we talk about Heathcliff sometimes too, so come check it out. It's a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of overlap in our audiences.
I would agree. It's a very fun podcast. It was great to have you on. We love cross-germination.
Yes. And of course, love to have you guys on our show as well.
Of course, anytime. Yes. And also, Jordan, make sure you let them know that I'm available as well for the podcast.
I will,
let's fucking go. If you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Blue Sky and Twitter. We are at Super Switch Headz on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We have a website, switchheadz.com, and then we have a Discord, a Patreon, and a Facebook group. We'd love to have you join our Discord. Such an amazing community, such a lovely group of people. They keep me sane every goddamn day, and I love talking with our community. And also, chuck in a buck on the Patreon if you feel so inclined. If you're enjoying the show and you got some extra cash, we could use it over here at the Switch Headz factory. And other than that, though, I mean, you guys know the drill. Be safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Go play Donkey Kong Bananza. Even if you don't have a Switch 2, just go to Walmart and play the demo over and over again. I think you'll enjoy it. It's the only reason to set foot inside a Walmart. We love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.